Hey, what's up guys? This is Alex on Casuals, and today we're going to be playing Satisfactory, and we're going to bring you guys a guide on how to optimize your production. Now, before we get into this guide, what is Satisfactory? Well, it is an open world sandbox game that features exploration, crafting, base building, and a lot of automation. You can do all of this while playing with friends, which makes it really fun. Here's a quick sneak peek on some of the gameplay. Evil creature. Not really scared of the small ones all that much. Ah, that's a big one. Oh my! Oh, help! Go away! Help me! Can I? It's so ugly. Ugh. I hate those. Alright, let's get back to this guide. Now, one of the most important things in Satisfactory is to be able to overclock some of your key production buildings. And to be able to overclock anything in this game, you will need power slugs. Power slugs are these just rare slug creatures that you can actually harvest. And once you actually get the research quite early on in the game, you're going to be able to transform them into a battery type item. Now, as you can see, they are kind of somewhat rare. They're not that rare, but you still have to look around and explore quite a bit to find them. And they can be often tricky to find and also protected by enemies that you need to defeat to safely go harvest these slugs. So in this case, it's one of the rare type of items that you really... Oh shit! Almost got knocked off the cliff. Oh, you little creature, I hate you. As for the how, early on unlock the MAM, which is your basically your research module, and it's in the power slug section. Once you're gonna research a power slug that you found, you're going to be unlocking the power shards basically, and you can do this for all three types of different slugs. So once the research of the slugs have been done, you can go to your craft bench, just go down to the power slug section, power shards, and then the green ones craft only one power shard, and then the yellow one craft two per, which is great, and if you had a purple, it's 5, so that's really cool. The first thing, in my opinion, that you should be overclocking in your entire production are your coal mines. In my case right now, this is sufficient and it's not overclocked because I mean it's doing good and it is split a lot, but it has MK3 treadmills, I guess, so conveyor belts, so they do go quite fast and they fuel a lot of stuff, mostly my electricity. But what you could do, and I will do it just by precaution, is to add 3 power shards inside this, so I can overclock the performance of the machine, and it's basically going to provide a whole lot of more coal per minute. Now this is going to allow me to further expand this conveyor belt into different paths and to basically power up more stuff, and it's just going to make my whole automation much more smoother and allow me to power up even more electricity. Now, as you can see, once you overclock, if you put 2 of them, it's basically 100% increase in performance, so it's going to go from 240 parts per minute to 480 parts per minute, and if I had another one, another 50%, so 600 parts per minute, that's a lot of coal, and it's going to allow you to power up a lot of different stuff. And even if you have multiple coal mines, it's even going to be better and allow you to really expand your base significantly. To increase your automation, in my opinion, is to increase the conveyor belt effectiveness. You can do this by just researching better ones as you progress through the game and just upgrading your conveyor belts with new materials. In this case, most of the time a level 3 is really good, but level 4 can be really useful. In this case, just as an example, but I would definitely ensure that your mines, all of your mines, have the highest conveyor belts possible, because this is where, especially mines that feed the electricity like the coal, is in my opinion the most important one. Now in my case, you saw my coal mine is now using 3 overclocks, and as you can see, I'm not missing any coal at all. I have a huge amount of coal. So what could I do to really increase my production even more and reduce my bottleneck is to basically overclock my coal generators, which provide electricity. So I'm going to put 3 power shards in there, and it's really going to increase the amount of electricity generated, but also the amount of coal used per overclock, basically. So if you can see here, it's taking 1 coal every 4 seconds, and if I overclock it 3 times, it's every 2 seconds. So that's gonna have a really strong impact on the amount of coal that's the intake, basically. So you still have to like pay attention to your whole circuit and ensure that you're not gonna be like you don't want to bottleneck too much, but you also don't want to be missing materials in your lines, or else what's going to happen is that your electricity is going to spike, and you don't want a circuit that's spiking. Because if, for example, one of my coal generators is missing coal for like 10 seconds, well, this is going to spike really way down, and actually this is going to spike way down, and if your circuit is spiking up at the same time, it's going to cause like a burst, and you're going to run out of electricity a few times, so you're going to have to mess around with your network. So in this case, I really have a lot of coal, so I'm going to try and have at least 2 coal generators overclocked to 3, so that's going to increase further my maximum threshold of circuit for my megawatts capacity, and that's going to allow me to build further stuff, additional stuff. And it's very important to keep an eye out on this type of stuff when you make big changes like this. 6 overclock shards on a circuit like this, you have to, like, in 10 minutes or so, I'll probably go back to my mine and make sure that the threshold is still like full, and that it's still able to fulfill its need for the coal generators. And if it can't, well, I'm gonna have to reduce the overclock. So as you can see, the output of the coal is still way good, so I could easily split my lines even more and overclock more stuff, and it should still be fine. Now, one other thing that you should always do, and it's not done in my case here, but I'm going to do it now, to really help against bottlenecks and just being really better prepared and not have any big mistakes, is to actually build a storage here, for example, and to allow basically to have an excess and to manage it better, so whenever you have problems. So in this case, this is maybe a bit overkill. It's not, but we're just going to do it like this for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this conveyor belt over here. Actually, we're going to upgrade that in level 4. And what we're going to do is you want your coal to enter this storage so that it doesn't bottleneck your coal mine production, basically. And what you're going to do here is you're going to put elevators so that it's going to transfer into the other storage, and you repeat this process up to the last level, and then you're going to build a conveyor belt coming out of here and going back into your production. And this, what it's going to do is basically going to give you like a buffer of these 3 storages to really fuel up and have this extra capacity and not just rely on your production. So if, for example, you're making a mistake and I don't know, you miscalculated something and you end up that you don't have enough coal, well, you're gonna have like a few full storage to really give you a bit of time to correct the mistake if you can catch it early on. So this is really something that you should do on almost everything related to your production, is to put some storage in here just to give you a small buffer. Then you can better adapt, and also store some extra resource if something bad happens. Now this does not fix my bottleneck. I'm still bottleneck on my production, which I'm fine with because I would want to optimize more obviously, and I will, but the most important thing for me right now is that the coal intake is able to provide. So that's what happens now since it's all bottleneck. And since this is bottlenecking, right now these 3 containers are getting filled quite rapidly. And that's perfect. You could have a much higher container row just to really fill with all of this. The goal is really to find the exact middle spot where your production is sufficient and you're not bottlenecking the whole thing. Alright guys, I hope that this video was useful to you guys. I hope that you guys are enjoying Satisfactory, and if you do, and if you're playing, let us know in the comments, and maybe you can even start a group together. And yeah, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, obviously, if you want to see more content. Have a good day guys, see ya.